clear.
Thank you very, very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, like I've been saying, welcome to another edition of the Then and Now program. Me with the speak to owner, me na my name Prince Emil Chroma, and me na the host and presenter of this platform, Then and Now. Today's show, we dedicate time to the youths of the country, and we get a very special guest in the house. So just before, we can get the normal tradition for introduce we guest, and we guest na person way most of you not go know, or again, some of we not go know them. So for that reason, and for that reason alone, we need for introduce this very special guest we get now we platform here so today. Just before I introduce her, one quick thing is, can we share the video, the normal routine, what we can do, please? Shall we share this video far and wide? Please, please, please. So other person, they're not going to tell them, they say, okay? And on a part of me, I get really cold. The guest who they talk to today is none other but a politician and a businessman. A businessman combined with a politician, okay? And now distinguished man, because he's a founding member, I repeat, he's a founding member of the Sierra Leone People's Party, the SLPP, Continental Europe. And he led that branch there for 12 years. Okay? Audience, I hope we get that loud and clear. So such is the personality that we will be speaking to today. And this platform here today, we want to use them for welcome this very special guest. He is none other than Mr. Solomon Baimba Mansaray. Mr. Mansaray, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prince Kuruma, for having me on your show.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Just for go to some points who I will begin from. Of course, that introduction there mean that you now being big stakeholder, you're still a big stakeholder. And that position there where you've been command at one time, not a small position at all. So for the benefit of the audience, will you please use this platform for giving an insight as to how you rise gradually to such a prestigious position as the chair for Continental Europe SLPP, not for one day, not for 1 week, not a year, but 12 years, 12 years. Can you give us a background, please, how you rise to that position there?
Sure, sure, Prince. What a wonderful introduction.
Thank you.
You know, Prince, I want just use this opportunity for greet everybody. Today, na Eid Mubarak.
Yes.
And a very unique one where we all they observe in a very unique way due to this pandemic where they ravage the entire world. However, I believe say the thing where they talk about Naya, where you just don't mention how I rise to that level.
Yep.
In my party, you know, my brother, you know, one thing in life, anything you love, you dedicate your whole life to it. And it will interest the listening public that not like I begin the practice the internal or intra-party politics of the Sierra Leone People's Party.
Right.
Since I come up with me a young man, very young man, in the early 90s, when the NPRC take power,
yep.
And when they began return the country to constitutionality, of course, there was this introduction of multi-party democracy.
Yeah.
And during that 10 day, of course, we all went back to our various political parties, even though before that 10-day, by legislation, we were all APC.
Yeah.
So when the introduction of multi-party democracy starts, Adima Fit say SLPP, originally na my own political party where I meet, me people then they support. And also when I can't understand the doctrine of the party, what the party stand for, that been careful make even I grow for like the party more.
Yeah.
So I start active politics in 1995, where with the campaign for make SLPP kind of power then 10 day, where that election was conducted by now President Julius Maada Bio, when he was head of state, NPRC2. So fortunately, we campaigned a lot during President Kaba in leadership, and we won. So, of course, we all know during the intended the voting actually that been the constraints, having a civil war going on, and also trying to grow the multi-party democracy in the country. So, but it get to a point where I just did my feet say, well, I don't do enough of local politics. Now I move from Sierra Leone, I kind of the diaspora. And when I kind of the diaspora, since my first day where I came to this part of the world, I began plan how to establish, because there was no SLPP in this part of the world. So I remember saying, look, SLPP is my party. I don't come to continental Europe. I know the area SLPP nowhere. I said, make I also try for reach out to interested members, sympathizers of the party for see how we go form the SLPP. And luckily for me, there were few colleagues. Some are now honorable, some that don't retire to Freetown. We buy into the idea that, oh, well, let us have this party formed here. And by then we get President Kaba, but Solobi was leader of the party. That was in 2005, 2006. Say, it go one for, the listening public go also one for no say in 2005, Solobi was elected as a flag bearer of the party, we ultimately make him the leader of the party. So we formed the party in 2000. The formation of the party in continental Europe, we complete them in 2006, and we can go because the protocols involved that when we form a party, we have to go register with the home front.
Yeah.
So we went there. By then, now finance minister in been the secretary general of the party, JJ Safa. My secretary general then, because to form the party, the membership say, Chairman, this idea came from you. You have to lead us. So, I was elected to the office democratically.
Yeah.
And when we don't put all the things together for we legally be recognized by the home front, we then Secretary General with Alex Smith. He's currently in Freetown, indoor retired now. And it go through all the protocols. The branch or the region here was officially registered with the home front. So from then, of course, I begin to take the party from Holland to Belgium, Italy, France, and now other countries within the EU.
Yeah.
Of course, when you depend on something, go did it forever.
Absolutely.
You therefore allow, just like you said, the youth same way they can today for making themselves take over.
Yeah.
So I exited the stage, and now I am a former chairman of the Sierra Leone People's Party, Continental Europe. And of course, the party, they continue for spread in the various countries, and we form part of the EU.
Wow. that was quite an explanation, and I don't believe say anything is left out. If not been thesis, that would have been a great one. Well said, sir, and thank you very much because you opened my eyes to many things as well. And we go come back to that for see how that developed, where we were, and who side we did now, as a people, as a party, as politics, as a country. But something else, we catch me mind, and Fambulem, make I use the opportunity because I think say the guest did serve me as a reminder, which I should have done. Today is a big day for the Muslim people. I don't do that now. All my social media handle them. So I think it sort of slipped my mind. But on this biggest of the platforms, can I use this opportunity for extend my warmest regard to all the Muslim family them, friends them globally. We celebrate today. We na una prede na in done so. I mean the first month na in done so today. Eid Mubarak as una can say to una all, and let God bless we all. Okay. Amen. Yeah, I mean, sir. Thank you very much. On this point, I want to bring this back to you because something they will sort of, I want to use the word terrorize in a sort of good context, where they terrorize we country right now. And if we not solve that, that means all of these things where we talk, it will be meaningless, or maybe will not even will be available for talk about this thing. This is not the COVID-19. Now I want to ask you about, so you go up much and small. Because from reports where I from Freetown, they just send me today's update where I will talk about a little bit. But from reports where they come off Freetown, there is some cynicism, if you like, some doubts from the side of the people and why governments instead they try for play in part for make people understand that this is serious and they need people on side for help for fight this virus. One of the things that what they hear is the message need a sort of resonate well from government. In other words, the cynicism with people can express like not believing and the rest of it. And when you they make an advert and the advert need to drive the point home, people then they become either confused or not buy into what you say, or the language in itself sort of foreign to them instead of if they relate to the culture. You get anything for Rob Mott on that, as a voice, we will help for lend, some support to government, sort of an appeal to the people them, because a lot get for watch this.
Yes, Prince, my brother, we all as citizens of that country, they get a solemn responsibility for complement government in effort for make sure say we people them that country get for no say COVID-19 is real and is deadly. I will agree with you. There is some form of confusion. Well, they may have their reasons for such a confusion, but like when me and you did at this platform, I think if we all mean well for that country, regardless of we political affiliations or ideologies or beliefs, this na a call to national duty where me believe say we all get a responsibility for send home so we people them for make them understand say this disease it's not a joke.
Yep.
Nobody know for play with them, and therefore able abide by the rules and regulations set out by the well-bodied people them, respect them and observe them to the fullest. Otherwise, every loss of life in that country they go affect me and you directly or indirectly. And we've all seen the kind of devastation, if I should put it that way, where this pandemic don't cause to even Western powers, to even countries where me and you, they where they get, I feel, if I should say, all what it takes, for mitigate the spread of this disease. But even when them get all the money in the world, they are yet to bring this thing under control because Nobody, no seem for even understand how for handle this COVID-19, because the thing just take everybody by surprise. So if we as a nation, at least citizens will come up from that country, we don't see how the thing don't begin to take an upward trend in terms of infections. We for be ambassadors of the government for make sure say we reach out to we own native people, and like the time we may come out 1 or 2 times I can call my village Kalamba, because we get this communication now all sides of the country. Kudos to the telecommunications networks. At least I dey call me Fambud and Kalamba, tell them say make them social distance, let them keep washing their hands. Everything where the well-body people and they tell them for do, they've got to abide by them. If we all do that, believe you me, we might win the war against the confusion where some people then get in their minds. So this is very serious, and we've got to let our people know that we've got to treat it with utmost seriousness.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I got one more question on that. Well, I'll just give some statistics regarding the COVID-19 as the update I received from Freetown. And I'll ask again, please, when I allow we share this video, please. I think we're about 50 or 59 with it fluctuate up and down, but just for get others for come and watch the program as well. I want to say welcome to Sister Zainab Tite. Zainab Tite, Kona, welcome. But Paul Gobe from the Midlands, welcome to the program. And Sister Zainab, welcome as well. I think first time from the Midlands as well. Supermed, Brother Dinke, Tifo Sachs, welcome all to the program. What do we know about the cumulative confirmed positive cases today as I speak right now is 707. And the total deaths what we get still very low, which is a good sign. Let God give them one away died from COVID-19 good road is 40. Amen. Yeah, I mean, sir. And the active new cases are 86. Cumulative recovery is 241. And then we active cases of isolation, or the one that within an isolation center is 426. And the number of quarantine people is 1,936. The one that we don't discharge from quarantine, we get a total number of 3,458. And this seems very serious in terms of the numbers. But the question I want to ask, sir, is this, Mr. Mansaray. I talk about the measures where governments they use for try for battle the spread of this disease. But you can see, say, it's a challenging task for the government and for the people because of social reasons, economic reasons, and etc. Could there be another way? And I say this in a wider picture. We get countries that we don't prove say they can fit them a different way. For example, the East African country of Kenya, because they get a similar problem, although they get a bigger economy and they do far better than we are doing, but they still get population where the gap between left and right or the space between people is maybe about 2 feet. But when you put it all together, it's just not workable. So they get for find another way because the nation get for continue for run. So the same problem appear for a country like Sierra Leone, which is densely populated, especially the 2-3 big cities, Freetown, Bo, and Kenemanem. So could there be other ways for government for propose? Because most of what we talk about from the experts are just advice based on foreign, application to the treatment of the disease, for trace them, for track them, for prevent them, and the rest of it. Could there be something innovative where we can suit with culture? Because we are everyday people, everyday person get for go hustle. 14-day lockdown is very, very extremely difficult for people. Having said that, it don't mean say government not for still apply the measure in day because the greater exceeds the lesser.
Well, my brother, first and foremost, I think room day always for make we improve as a person, as a nation. And with the advent of this pandemic, I believe say government was proactive from the onset by at least the president taking the lead for sensitize the citizenry in the country by visiting like the airports, the border crossing points, and other areas where densely populated, where Missy, don't you then say, the president, the minister of health, and other government ministers,
Yeah.
we are in the company of the president, where the president, now the first person, now the sub-region, first leader, where he make them public and where he begin create the awareness about COVID-19, how deadly it is. We must commend president for being so proactive from the word go. Otherwise, we don't see countries, even in the United States, when even in Europe, what's out there, we learn, governments and learn about this thing in China in November of 2019. But they're even late for take some actions maybe for mitigate the spread of this disease in the various countries. But on our own part, president actually was, the first leader in the sub-region for go on sensitization tour, for tell the nation that a disease don't come with deadly, a disease don't come with very devastating, a disease don't come with get for disrupt the way of life. So that notwithstanding, of course, there is still room for improvement. And you and I go agree that government, they try for improve every now and then in capacity for make sure say they try for mitigate the spread of this disease. Of course, we were at zero some months ago. But of course, this disease now a disease where it's airborne. You cannot see it. You don't feel it. You contract them through somebody in speech them or in cough or in this or in that. So if, of course, you say if any room there for make we improve, government improve on this issue of addressing COVID-19, of course, room there always. And I'm not going to hesitate for state say, now make government just recently think I'm say, now we get people them we get the expertise, we get people them we grounded in the in the business of politics, and that even encourage them for make some appointments and we are very happy with by bringing in Dr. Alpha Khan from Putloko and Dr. Gino Spencer for joining the COVID team for make sure say we then try, or we all, because we are all in this together, we try for make the spread of this TR be mitigated, and we try for put on bien we as history so that we go live for tell the history of this TR. However, I will also want to join you for express my sympathy to the lives that already we don't lose, to the families of the people them we don't get affected by this, because this was, I mean nobody expected it, but it don't happen, and we don't begin lost lives them, and the figures are now trending upwards. But again, my brother Prince, we all, like I said initially, we all get a responsibility as citizens of that country for help government, for complement government, which most people are doing. Although, again, if you watch social media, the fight against this thing here, you the sense say some form of politics is at play. You have people, because this party that is now in governance is not their party. They not even take the message seriously from government officials. They say because no to them party, they na power. We hear that. We see them, they write, send them write-ups and then na Facebook, na WhatsApp. But again, now make me think, say, this president, this government, the actions where they don't take for bringing people from NGC, APC, and other political parties for joining the fight against COVID, now the right step in the right direction. And I hope we will continue to be creating that space for more people with the right expertise for coincide for fight this disease here.
Yeah, well said, sir. Although some people are going to scratch their head on one particular thing I want to raise to you before I go to the next question, which is, yes, the government under the leadership of retired Brigadier Julius Malabio, His Excellency, did invite other people from opposition parties. But one of the heaviest opposition party, the person we just mentioned, why is it going to be somebody we, somebody we questionable in terms of loyalty and membership to the party? And people are going to ask the questions, and I sure say again for come up na the media. But let me go to this quickly because I want to go into politics and you don't.
But again, please remind our viewers that Alpha Khan is first a Sierra Leonean.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do agree.
That's right. So,
agree with that.
So in fact, probably he wasn't appointed based on his political affiliations. Probably the president thought it fit to have appointed him because he is a Sierra Leonean, and the president thinks, say, as a Sierra Leonean, we all for can put hands on deck for make we defeat COVID-19.
Very good thought, sir. Thank you very much for that response. There's many things that don't happen in the country over quite a period of time. We can go back almost to the beginning of this government. But for the sake of time and significance, we go limit them to a certain period. And let me say the last 5 months, okay? Mm-hmm. We see a lot happening politically, where political tension sort of rise up in the country. And we see the president come out and talk tough. But in the process of talking tough, a lot of people felt offended and took up on certain key jargons, which the president used in a key speech. But let me look at the build-up to that speech the way the president make. We, bring about this if and buts. This same COVID-19 end up with the president making a good gesture. I don't think there's any doubt or there should be any doubts about that. When he extend a hand out to Sierra Leoneans first, and within a political nature, members of the opposition party. So one of them was one-time heavyweight inside the opposition party, APC, when they talk about Paulo Conte, where in circumstances we know about him. So right now, as we speak, we know the circumstances, no need for let me go there. But that sort of creates a kind of a tension. One of the things that we create a kind of a tension. We also see quite recently the arrest of Dr. Sylvia Blinden, a journalist and a person who don't serve the country as well. And I understand she's been charged recently, but before she got charged, she was incarcerated for a number of weeks. We make Boku people and raise their eyebrows as to what is going on. We see a protest we turn to a riot in Natumbo, for which the president been commissioned an inquiry. But then, unfortunately, the president don't deliver a verdict already. So I don't know where that is going to go. But this is just the backdrop of some of the cases them where happen, where continue for bring tension come to the country. In that context, the president did make a speech where he addressed the nation that this will not be tolerated. And any president or government in first duty under the Constitution will be providing security for the country and your countrymen. But within that regard, you want embrace while you they extricate the harmful one there. Okay, so it's a fine line that you need for work. But the question I want to ask regarding all of that, pan this tension and then build up then day, I'm sure again, sir, Mr. Mansaray, as a stakeholder, waiting are your general view on this one, based on all the development in day and more where you go know about, down to the president's speech and how it go from your perspective, sir.
Well, thank you very much. You see, this one is a loaded one.
Yeah, again, very compounded.
Yes, but again, Mr. Kuruma, let we not forget, say, political tensions in Sierra Leone, na part of the politics of that country, they where me they grow, where I get sense. I could remember in 1977, under late President Sheikh Stephen, there was, well, we even say political tensions. There were summary executions of people because of politics.
Yeah.
And again, coming to 1982, we imagine their term and term way by legislation, we were all APC. So, there wasn't the need for, say, all right, you did another political party, me did another political party, so we are political rivals. No, but by legislation, we are all members of the APC. Now, 1982 that's actually also a history where we not going to talk about, because it wasn't anything good way to find for member as a nation. There was a lot of killings. There were, summary executions. There were tribes going against other tribes. Where it happened very close to me own chiefdom. Between Temu Bangura and Dr. Abdullahi Timbo. Yeah. So look, again, left the one day under Momo. When Momo was also trying to introduce the multi-party, I must commend late President Momo for that. Because the multi-party democracy, actually where we enjoy so today, started under the APC. That is a fact. Because by then my boss was resident minister and I was personal assistant to him in McKinney. Tebu formed the PDP and the APC did not, that did not go down well with the APC. I know exactly what happened, what they do against Tebu. So a lot of political tension and violence did not happen. So me even believe, say, it is unfortunate for MEC as a nation when the country there was handed over to us as an independent nation. We not able to manage ourselves politically. We begin see ourselves as enemies.
Okay, we go come to that, Mr. Mansaray. Let's just go back again to the question, because you deal with them, and I like the way how you go about them. But there's a question around them, which is it's sounding almost like a justification. Say, if it been happening yesterday, so. It's happening today. By the way,
I am not justifying. Okay. I am not justifying what happened in the last 5 months. But I just want to say, political tensions and rivalry in that country today, it's almost a norm.
Yeah, it's the tempo. You are absolutely right. It's the tempo. I mean, it boil to a point where I think we will agree on that it's not really necessary, for a country who's been through a lot.
I agree with you. And again, look, let us be very honest to ourselves, Mr. Kuruma. Look, in 2007, former President Anas Kuruma won the elections, right?
Yeah.
Solobi, we been run against them or in run against Solobi, whatever. As they announced the result, Solobi take a phone and congratulate former President Alex Kuruma by conceding defeat to him. Yeah? And what happened? That automatically sent a signal to the entire membership of the Sierra Leone People's Party that Politics is over. Now not the term for govern. You know, I just want to build a kind of case for let you understand where they answer the question.
And they follow.
Now, we have 2018 elections. Yeah, where Dr. Samura Kamara and now President Bio were political rivals at the helm of their political parties. Yeah. One, they all have been flag bearer because we get the incumbent way in the last term in the go. Yeah. Yes. And you also go agree with me. Probably you may have seen it or you may have listened to the video wherein Dr. Samura been the threatening say if the election results not go in way, it will make that country ungovernable. I have seen that. I have listened to the audio not once, not twice. Now, let me say the elections as he talk, you're not going away. His Excellency President Bio was declared the victor of that election. Now, as I talk to you so today, you know, we get for try for go to the core of some of the problems then. If we want to address...
Okay, Mr. Mansaray, let's go to some of the core of the problem because that's one side of the story because there is a lot out there. It is true because I've seen the tape as well that Dr. Samura, who was a political rival then for the presidency to the current head of state, did use those words. But what people will be saying that you're not saying when you make mention of the former leader in election where the late Solobi, may God, grant him eternal rest, he pick up the phone and congratulate EBK. And from there, of course, that was a signal, like you said, like all arms down. I'm the leader, I've conceded, and this is what the issue about conceding is all about.
Yes.
But fast tracking it to 2018, the same tensions that we are talking about was on either side.
Yes.
What people will be saying, say, is that smooth transition the way for take place never took place. Remember, it's a process. Ministers supposed for handover to you. Ministers were never given the opportunity. There was a list drawn in which people go into people's houses. These are just facts. For go take motorcar, you will have known this, So they didn't allow the process to play. So in the process, acrimony. So it can boil down to the same heat way they talk about, where always there's political tension. The question here, Mr. Mansaray, is how do we move away from all of this? Because this is not auguring well for the country, not the leadership, not the future.
Honestly, that one is in our hands now. But again, let me also quickly remind you of what you just said. So, when we lost the elections of 2007 to former President Ernest Bai Koroma, all what they talked so that people went to people's houses, vandalized people's houses, took vehicles from people illegally, and even in the process, some people lost their lives.
Yeah.
But again, look, you're not going to say, well, dog better you better.
No.
Well, all not on dog. Yeah. The issue here is that is like a kind of trajectory in we own political history of that country. And honestly, it is about time we all become kind of ambassadors of peace. And also, if even I am supporting His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio today, if he do something we know right, my brother, let I get the God for saying, no, my president did not do right. But again, look at what in some members, not all, you have very good APC people. I have dealt with very many of them. Yeah, you get decent APC people. Honestly, that is a fact. Some members of the APC, because Samura still not concede defeat, not congratulate President Bio. You get people that still where they feel say President Bio's election to the presidency of that country is illegitimate. And this is why, as leaders of our countries, our communities, our villages, our towns, the onus is on us, my brother, for give a direction to we followers them that, look, even when we are not supporting the same political parties, but we get the responsibility for tell we supported and say, look, I genuinely lost these elections, or if I not even lost them genuinely, but for the sake of peace and security and safety in that country, maybe they think say Dr. Samura and somebody who hold in the very in very high esteem. In being for done with an educational background, look, my brother, politics today you can be the victor, tomorrow you can be the loser. I think say Dr. Samura still gets a role for play in the national cohesion of that country by coming out publicly, conceding defeat, and admonishing his supporters to join hands with President Bio for govern that country, so that we all go enjoy the peace and stability of that country. Because if we do not ensure Sierra Leone is safe and secure, you and I will not go there to do business. And at the end of the day, we don't go suffer. We have people who are very poor. I mean, we're not getting no way for make ends meet. If that country continue for be unstable, now then one day they go suffer. Yeah. When me and you relatives them. So this is why me believe in politics. Even when they go and get tough, you get for be magnanimous enough as leader for come out publicly and make statements that will go continue for maintain the peace and stability of that country. We have not seen that from some senior members of the opposition APC. This is a fact. Not because I am a member of the Sierra Leone People's Party. As a Sierra Leonean, I believe say that country belongs to everybody, not to one political party get that country. That country, now me and you get them. If that country should grow, the two of us, or the citizenry of that country, must work in unison to bring that country to which side we all want them. Otherwise, we would have a problem.
Yeah, I think you make a brilliant point, and this is the thing. When we talk about peace is not a destination, really. It's a journey.
It's a journey.
To start somewhere and it never ends. It's a continuous process, but it has to be one with good faith, good intention, and the structures has to be built on either side. And I think you make a very good point, because the hierarchy of the opposition party, the major opposition party, need for come out with a position statement for clarifying their position on many things, not in a reactive way, because they do come out with position statements, but only when things happen. But when they say, like a position statement for put all these things away, like which you say, Dr. Samura not admit to losing the elections, and instead of they come out for make a statement, they still not make that statement today. So there is no good faith between both sides, and that need to do well for the country, because just like you say, when two elephants fight, that's what's going on, and the grass,
and they suffer.
And they suffer, which is us. A very good point, sir. But you go imagine, say, you sit down at this seat as a member of the ruling party. So the questions that are going to be coming your way should be, and so far, you're kind of understandable. And they say this as well, here to the guests them as well, for understand that kind of a context. It doesn't look like one-sided. It's just a fact, because if somebody else with the red was sitting on that side, I'll be saying the same thing. Why did your leader haven't, said anything to that regard? Of course. But for you, Mr. Mansaray, and to the audience, those of you who just join, I want to thank you for keeping the chat room alive. I mean, the usual thing they ask for, let we keep decent and civilized. We can disagree for agree, and this is what we are talking about with a very special guest, Mr. Solomon Baimba Mansaray, one-time SLPP Continental Europe chairman for 12 years. So he's not a small man by many stretch. Okay, he's a man who will be in the know. Many things will have crossed his path. Okay, you see, within the same context what they talk about, because the topic today, sir, was one of talking about security issues, the same tensions. Now with various institutions, then, for example, the parliament, the judiciary, the legislative, all of them combined, there seems to be questions about all of them, because we know say they function fine, the way how them for function, the way they are defined, like independent of each other, but they work or complement each other. It's not working that way. But when it act extreme, or one side of this institution, they act in that extreme day, it tell on the population as well and the country as a whole. So I want to let we look at the judiciary, for example. Okay, you know, if peace not exist now because justice not there, and when justice not there, it just act for let you see peace. So and then they talk about justice being absent, you know, here like in a zero-sum way. No, justice is there, but in a minimal way. And this is not a problem of the ruling party only. When they talk about historic problems of all of these things, what will they talk about? This goes back. So when they talk about solutions now, where once and for all, these things go away. But somebody need for take the first step. We need leadership for take the first step, okay? We go back to the case of arbitrary arrest. People not being accorded the due process of the law, which the Constitution called for. We cover we all. You see, poor man, they go to jail, you know, because you don't get access, you know, here to lawyer, you don't get money and etc. So I'm not only talking about the big wigs. And yeah, I want to talk about the small people them as well, who are victims, and largely they are the victims of a system. Because these big people somehow, they go find their way out. They get lawyers, they get money, and the rest of it. What about small people then, where they go to jail, probably for nothing, like recently when the Pandeba Road issue happened? Not everybody that was there who may have perished, being guilty, you know, yeah, by virtue of a court pronouncement. They may just did it probably on remand or etc. etc. Mr. Mansaray, how do we solve the problem, or what advice have you got like for the judiciary? Because we want to deal with them in parts before we end this interview.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kuruma. Mr. Kuruma, we all as Sierra Leoneans, what I say we owe an apology to that country. You know, all what in the happen so, not to somebody from Guinea, not to somebody from Liberia, not to somebody from Nigeria, they create them problems here. All of these problems are created by us. And if you look at the TRC report, one of the recommendations where they make now about the justice system, how people go feel say their rights have been observed and not trampled upon, will lead to that 11 years senseless civil war, where me and you and the listening public either directly or indirectly suffer from. So those, I mean, that now one of the recommendations of the TRC will say, justice delayed is justice denied. And, you know, it gets a ripple effect. Some of them young men here, where you see now Sierra Leone no more, you see man they thief 10,000, they go lock up for 10 years.
Yeah.
You see with politicians and they thief billions of leons, where they go court, just like you rightly said, they have lawyers, they have the monies to fight those cases in court. Believe you me, then they just find a small money for payback. You know, look, I am so pathetic when I feel so sorry for we youths in that country, because they bear the brunt of all the sufferings in that country. The high profile people, I mean, these are like 1 or 2% in that country, but 98% of the citizenry in that country, they suffer a lot. And I make, honestly, when former President Ernest Bai Koroma, when he took power in 2007 and came up with this agenda where we call attitudinal change, Believe you me, I was so in support of that agenda day. If only President Kuruma been pay attention to that thing day. You know, he even forget about his second time where he come with agenda for prosperity. He makes sure say he try for work on the mindset of the Sierra Leone, because all of these problems we are having as a nation boils down to the mindset. You know, and again, when you look, there are other factors responsible.
Yeah.
Our nation is a poorly educated nation. We get so many gullible youths in that country today where they don't even know what thing they do. Where, believe you me, if they are educated as we are, nobody no go meet any of them youths and they say, go cause mommy cause for me, it cost mommy cause. Or go kill pussy, it go kill pussy. Because at the end of the day, the people they even think say they self get life, they get future. So now that brings me back to the question. This fight is not going to be limited to one government, because at the end of the day, assuming President Bio, whether you like it or not, he go do 10 years in that country there as president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. And honestly, you and me know say most of government programs where they implement. In fact, it no go end, it take past like 15, 20 years before they even complete certain projects.
Yeah, so, but Mr. Mansary, we can understand that. Like I say again, I mean, you get an obligation, first of all, as we understand, as a Sierra Leonean, and then first, and then party next. But on the issue of the judiciary, we get something to do with peace, justice and peace, they complement each other. If they go around and they arrest people left, right, and center, that also they help for create detention. And when you jail them, for a longer period beyond what the Constitution require, although you get your 12-month state of emergency powers, that is not being seen as good faith, and that they help for create the tension within the country. So for detention, the place, if that word is allowed, detention, the owners get for come out from the president as a goodwill in the first place, not the warlike speech in which he referred to one section of his citizens them as terrorists, where by many accounts, on social media and public review, it's like shooting yourself in your own foot, because once you make that declaration, the investors, then they run away from your country, you foreign resident, then when you get there, then they panic. So that wasn't, like a proper speech, sir. We go down well with the vast majority of people and the jailing of people for longer periods of time. How can the president address this without calling people terrorists?
Well, in the first place, I think we all get for agree say lawlessness don't pass mark in that country.
Absolutely.
And the president, before he was even elected to that office, they make a solemn promise to the country that when or if elected to that office, this issue of lawlessness, accountability, and corruption, it will make them a priority, just like we make the free quality education in flagship program. Now, if you look at the trajectory of people and behavior, because, like when you mentioned the judiciary, some of these matters or cases are in court. And for some legal reasons, I may not want to comment on them.
Yeah, but justice delayed is justice denied.
But again, President Bio was recently on national TV, wherein in a talk of say, even when the country is currently under state of emergency, it go call on the Chief Justice, prevail on him, plead with him for make a reopen the courts them for begin address some of their cases here within a court. That in itself don't tell you and me say the president na somebody where a reasoning, na somebody where he believe in the rule of law. Otherwise, You and I know, under this circumstance in that country, where will they go through this pandemic and state of emergency? Trust me, you not say the law get provisions for them thing they did that. If they hold you during the state of emergency, now pass that they done before ever they release you or they even begin to address your case. But a president with that human face, where he knows say people's rights are fundamental, he said, okay, let me plead with the Chief Justice for them to reopen some of them courts here so that they will begin address some of them cases here.
Will the president instruct the Chief Justice or plead with him? Which is which?
No, a non-instructor. I say I am going to plead with the Chief Justice because also a no get right for force the Chief Justice because that is also a separate arm of government.
So you say this separate arm of government is independent, not on pen and paper, I mean in action.
In my view, others may have a different view, but in my view, the president, demonstrated clearly that since the judiciary is independent, it not gets the powers where for make a force the Chief Justice for reopen courts. He said, and I quote, I will plead with the Chief Justice for making reopen the courts and so that they will begin address some of them cases here within a court. So that one day for giving some respite that we have a president with a human face, we're ready for observe the rights of others, where at least we know when we have some of these problems, my brother, we just begin careful address them. So whether it is APC in power or SLPP in power, we therefore try as a nation for begin address some of them fundamental issues here where always they create problem for me and you. Because if anybody in position today where they behind bars, I don't feel good. I will want for them to release me. Now, if the president, in his wisdom, don't think and say, all right, even though we have a state of emergency, but let me prevail on the Chief Justice respectfully to reopen the court so that
Mr. Mansaray, do you think it be right for the way issues been happening like the Tombo incident, for example, where supposed to go through the judiciary, independent judiciary, and the president did commission an investigation. Obviously, an investigation supposed to take place, but then in the process, the president come out and make a pronouncement and declare the guilty parties already. How can the judiciary be independent or function when the executive, as we know, now the be it and very powerful side of government, the most powerful, in fact, the president already don't say that. Who will reverse that cause or that trend? Was he right for of course, you don't need for declare whether it was right or not, and not to be questioned under in fact, but the way the president come out and compromise an investigation where they take place, the judiciary will find that difficult to operate. Isn't it so, sir?
Well, the judiciary is independent. It is left with them to either go according to the books or listen to the president. So I wouldn't want to comment on that. Besides, let me also make this very clear. What in His Excellency the President, the intelligence we're in privy to, you and me not privy to. So probably the president knows better. Now he make certain statements. So I mean that one, it is only the president that can say.
Yeah, but Mr. Mansaray, with all due respect, sir, now a verdict now the president declare. So this excuse, we've heard it from the Minister of Information.
I respectfully want to disagree with you, sir.
Why?
The president not deliver a verdict. The president made a statement. We have an independent judiciary. It is left for the judiciary to either act rightfully or wrongfully.
Well, that sound really contradictory, because earlier on we were kind of justifying why the president do what he do, and the excuse here is because he privy to what we not privy to. That give the onus, that give the responsibility, and that give the depth for declare what he declare. And just a reminder, the president say we know who that do it, and he named the people them. How we hear you privy to them, then you go get for wait. Let the judiciary do it in work, because that's part of the info that you will be privy to, it will come your way first before it go out.
No. Again, let us get this clear. The president's preview. So what do you mean are you not privy to in terms of intelligence?
That's correct.
He further went on to say investigations are ongoing.
That cannot be right, Mr. Mansaray. It sounds almost like Alice in Wonderland. It's like verdict now and trial later. Investigations are ongoing.
I absolutely did not see the way you may have seen it. How Mr. with all the political tensions will precede the president in speech. Trust me, most of us, all Sierra Leoneans who mean well for that country, we are all blaming the president. Say, the president been talk say it go curb lawlessness, it go curb corruption, it go curb violence. But when you look at the prison breakout, you look at Lonsar, you look at Foredigo, you look at Tombo. I believe and I am sure the president in wisdom being get them right for make a very strong worded speech so that those involved, my brother, I have to be very honest with you. The people who lost their lives na Tombo, where they lost their lives na Pademba Road prisons, where they lost their lives elsewhere in the country, those are poor people who not got nothing to do with politics in that country. But you know, if we allow them kind of thing here, because also before we even judge the president on his speech, let me also remember say, now as a result of the actions of certain Sierra Leoneans, will lead them for make it come out with such a statement by the country.
We will agree, Mr. Mansaray. The president has to be tough. The president has to be, hands-on. He has to leadership. What we are saying here is the speech made, you can be tough without, pointing an accusing finger when there's an investigation ongoing to say, these are the terrorists. You just don't do that because you're the president. There's an ongoing investigation. That's contradicting or influencing it. That's just against the law.
Mr. Koroma.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Koroma, if we can go to the dictionary and define what a terrorist is, it clearly say all those actions, the president writes for refer to them as a terrorist act.
No, let's correct something quickly, sir. Yeah.
No, wait. They say a terrorist now somebody where they use unlawful violence and intimidation, especially against peaceful civilians in pursuit of political aims. Now, a terrorist. And if you watch at what happened at Tombo, prisons, Losar, my brother, all those involved, you have local terrorism, you have international terrorism. And if you use violence for achieving your political aims, you are a terrorist. There is no second way to put that. You are a terrorist because it is through that unlawful violence and intimidation where you perpetrate against peaceful citizens. Now, they lead to loss of lives,
so
destruction of public property.
I agree with you. The act itself defines it. Okay,
that's right.
I'm saying it in a different way. So waiting will constitute the investigation. Should an investigation go on? And if the investigation go on, waiting the investigation is try for proof now, waiting get for proof. What happens?
But mind you, this I think the security apparatus busy investigating all of these disturbances. Yeah. And at the end of the day, when they come with their conclusions, if it requires government for prosecute them people in a court, they will rightfully do so. If you know amount to that, they will also implement certain steps. We'll probably go forestall that kind of thing from happening in the future. Let me quickly say this. People might not like this.
No, Sierra Leone is ours. Straight talk, please. Yeah.
Yes, Sierra Leone is ours. Look, look. This issue of going through them gullible youths here, my brother, for perpetrate violence against peaceful people. We're not getting nothing for do with power.
That is wrong and must be condemned.
It must be condemned.
It's a different context. So I want to ask you one question on Tombo. Of course, anybody will not condemn their act, then they, like you say, they're not patriotic. They don't belong in a civilized society. That's completely wrong. For incite, for allow people and for go burn also or institutions or play suicide again for go menu, that's just simply wrong. And we condemn them in the strongest of words. Yeah. The argument here, Mr. Mansaray, is there should be an investigation. This is the rule of law. Democracy is a rule of law. It's not juntocracy. And I'm not using it within that context of the president. I'm just saying this is where things like this can happen in banana republics. But if you have a judiciary, you get a system, you get for allow that system, they, especially within the context where they speak, that it is independent. So that system, they get for play out. So yeah, it is true. Yeah, go on. Yeah, take it from there.
No, run ahead of yourself.
Okay.
The president say investigations are ongoing.
No, but we know the verdict already. That's what I'm saying. And this is the bone of contention.
No. All the one that will perpetrate that violence, intimidation against peaceful citizens, a terrorist. That is the definition of terrorist. So terrorism could be local, it could be international.
Okay. Now, let me push back on something. Sorry, just for the benefit of time. On the same issue, let's go to Tombo, for example, because you carefully name all these places. You see why the investigation can be very important, because it can expand, and then class by class, it gives you all an insight understanding. This is what investigation is all about. In the absence of it looks dodgy, it looks funny. You can count your opinion. Me and you, like ordinary, of course, you are more bigger than me, but we can count with opinion, we opine on them. We can look at circumstances and opine and do analysis and evaluate. But this is the president, and this is the excuse that we're hearing, because he's privy, which is true, to intel. So therefore, the president come out and actually declare a verdict, but you don't agree with that, and I need to move on the same topic. So we go to Tombo. What did actually happen at Tombo, because we get the benefit of hindsight now, Mr. Mansaray, that, and let me know whether this is incorrect. First of all, there's a distinction between a protest and a riot. Let me underline that there first, and that make the case. Let's say the premise on Tombo. So, so in Tombo, as we understand it now,
yes,
the livelihood of a people was threatened. Again, I think there will be a general consensus here that with people, 90% of them, if not accurately 90%, but a sizable number of them are everyday people. Every day we get for go hustle for tomorrow. So in the fight with this COVID-19, the measures that have been taken are extreme, but we get for go by waiting with government say. And a good citizen, we get a social contract with government. We keep with social contract, the side of a bargain, government do your side. So they're not locked we down for 14 days. And imagine the context, we now everyday people, 14 days, family to feed, etc., etc.
Not in 3 days.
Yes, after the 14 days. I mean, there was
the 14 days was not a lockdown kind of.
Okay, now we go to the 3 days. Okay, thanks for that.
A restriction on inter-district travel.
Okay, now make us open to correction. So let's go to the 3 days. So after the 3 days, for an everyday people, that's 72 hours.
Yep.
And every 24 hours, you get for go hustle for feed your family. So the 72 hours don't pass, you come out. This is where we understand, say, this entire thing begin. And the reason why I say, let me look at protest and riot is, did it started as a riot? Because the riot is defined differently. Or were people protesting? Or it started as a protest? And if it were a protest, what were they protesting about? When did it become terrorist? Because it started supposedly as being terrorist in nature or being incited by other people. It was out of an action of a people whose livelihood was being threatened as per how they can get the lily bebe So probably you get another account. Let me listen to you, sir.
In the first place, my brother, we'll say protest.
Yeah.
Constitutionally, if you want protest, according to the books, the law books of Sierra Leone, yeah?
Yeah.
What do you do? You
apply.
write a letter.
Yeah.
You write a letter requesting.
Yeah, one minute. Okay, he's gone. I think this board will be one contribute. But go on, sir. Go
on. When you want protest, a peaceful protest, you write a letter to the police boss requesting permission. Yeah. Now, if you don't observe the protocols, then you take the laws into your hands. Do you want to refer to that as a protest or a riot?
We get for take time for work out a fine line. I like the argument where you make.
No, but Mr. Kroma.
Yes, sir.
When the rule of law say, Mr. Kroma want protest, because yeah, you get one person in protest, you get two, you get three, for as many as you would want to. If the authorities and deem say it is necessary for you to do, you can. Yeah. Let me say you want protest against an illegal instruction. For the sake of argument, was it not proper on the side of those who perpetrated that violence to have gone through the police requesting permission so that they will protest against a decision where they don't think say it serves their interest?
Okay.
Rather than.
Okay, so for once, let me swap seats because it sound like a question. Let's deal with that. So you get for first of all look at the circumstances, sir. And the circumstances will prevail. It not be possible for go ask for a protest permit. It not be possible because some protests them are spontaneous. We know that some protests are spontaneous, but that in itself not applying for a permit to go protest not means say automatically it was a riot. Will make you a terrorist.
No. Whenever you protest,
okay,
where you lead, let's say for the sake of argument, the way you put them, let's accept that way.
Yeah.
You protest against an illegal decision.
Yeah.
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 Is that tantamount to taking up arms?
No.
Destroying public property. I'm coming.
We've condemned that. That's
but let us also take some of these factors that led to the arrest of so many of those youths into consideration. In the first place, they're saying a protest. Protest go make you kill somebody or you wound somebody or you go spoil government property where you not get nothing, for do with you. I want you to answer me, please, Mr. Kroma. Is that
of course. You seem for the ask the same question over and over.
Yeah,
but the point here is
because what happened in Tombo wasn't a protest. It was a riotous conduct
Mr. Mansaray.
By people will take the laws into their hands, then go do what they do against peaceful citizens. And we have a government. Sierra Leone is a country of laws. If you take the laws into your hands, we have the security apparatus for stem you excesses as a citizen.
Yes, Mr. Mansaray.
You said it.
Yes,
you said we have a social contract with government, right?
Mr. Mansaray, we get to understand this in the wider context. I think we are missing a greater point here. We first of all we've condemned any act of violence. We've condemned that. So the fact that we go back, it seems like we try to justify the action by another. So we condemn the violence, the people that will perpetrate the violence. The point here is, sir, the citizens also get a right for protest, and sometimes protests can be spontaneous. This is what I'm saying. The way how it happened in even developed countries. That automatically in itself does not make you a rioter or a terrorist. But here is the point. Now, this make investigation is very, very important because waiting the investigation can establish in these cases, and so it not go happen again, is what led to the protest stroke riot. What led to it? This is why an investigation is important and should not be tainted.
Yes, so let me agree for once.
Yes, sir.
What it lead to that protesting? Let me say for the sake of argument, yeah, These laws were bad from the authorities. Say, we they just allow 15 votes and forgo. Now see, yeah? A peaceful, law-abiding citizen go the street in that form against peaceful citizens where you know the relevant authorities where if we approach for say no. If law will say self, the thing not go down well with them. There would have been a civil way to approach that matter when not before that lead.
I agree, sir.
When not before that lead to loss of lives and destruction of public property, my brother. You know, again, if we want to hold the people at the top, we get the power. We got to begin with who self by with behavior. You know what? Sierra Leoneans, you know, we are comfortable with laying blames. When something happens, Mr. Koroma, we know they even try for look at the root causes because me and you know say, yeah, if anybody take him upon himself, he go na treat. Like when they say so in a lockdown, you come out, you defy the handy. Police go hold you, and if they hold you, either they fine you, or if they see say you don't destroy something or you don't attack somebody, you don't commit terrorism, then go take you and the law go bite you seriously. Me and you know that. So this is why we conduct research within the confines of the law. But if people,
I disagree with you fundamentally because when they want to do an outside me and you day, you know say if the rules are not laid down by law, either emergency act, you know they go take the right from them and they know that the Magna Carta protect them for that. So if you listen, they use technical jargons, not so by force. So tell them tell you say guideline. So tell them tell you say please. That's how it works here until you go get an emergency guideline and you don't come out of place. But nobody there they go take cane and whip you. Nobody there they go meet you in a veranda and beat you. No, it doesn't work like that here. That comparison doesn't just work.
Yeah, but we don't see them now. Western countries in there where people they break lockdown, they can't force where police they use on them. You don't see them, me brother. You know, look, always you get people where they break law. You get people where they take the laws into their hands. Look, I will also not sit here and give a pass to the police reaction. Yeah, sometimes with police, then they react with maximum force, and sometimes the situation don't require that. Yeah, so this is why we believe Sierra Leone will have a big problem. My brother, education, now biggest problem in that country.
What kind of education, Mr. Mansaray? Because I mean, just to read an article today, we not about Sierra Leone per se, but the reason why I ask this kind of education is because a lot of we, like I believe, say we go back in time. This is how we then go up. You get for be doctor, you get for go in a classroom, you get for do this. In other words, too many degrees, you know, no skill sets, no trade sets. Yeah, if you get where I'm going.
If that's not the kind of education I am trying to bring into the mix here. The education we made it talk. Look, we have civil society organizations now. We countries them. We get the media. Look, we all get responsibility for make sure say we reach out to we people them. Even the least town crier or even the headman at the town. Now authority will get the owners for even reach out to in subjects and tell them say this not right, this not right. But today in that country, then my brother, you and me, we go agree on this. That people not even ready for land. People they blatantly flout the rules because somebody gets influence to up there. He go do what he thinks say he want to do.
So that pause you back there if you don't mind, because you make quite a critical point, and I don't want to lose that thought there. Because at some point, my understanding was like, now the people are responsible. But when you make this point, you see the thing lead back up to those that are up.
No, it lead back to up. It lead back to everybody when a citizen of that country there.
So because we get responsibilities ourselves.
We as citizens we get responsibilities. Look, you cannot behave in a country where you think say laws on all day. Where they even born you, you get domestic rules and regulations. Yeah. But that country, it don't reach to a point where we all for begin to talk to people then now, help the government in sensitizing our youth. My brother, we youth them. They are misguided. But look, you know what? This don't stem decades. Decades. This kind of behavior. Certain political parties don't they use the youth them as talks them. And believe you me, if we fail in our duty to call those political parties out, because we all know the history, we all know how political parties infuse violence into politics in that country after independence, and we know those political parties. Me and you, I mean, we all know for even tell that history. So this is about time for me and you make sure say the youths are waiting today. We try for make them knowledge based so that they will know exactly say if I go outside, if government don't say not do this, I no go do them, or if I want do them, I get channels them where I go follow for make and do them in a respectful way where I no go get some kind hit back from government. These are, I mean, like all at this medium, so we get a responsibility for educate with people because people are listening all over the world. There are people today, regardless of their status in this part of the world, they're worse off past the one they're waiting in a village. I'm telling you, because some of us now, we even they make we bother and they misbehave down in that country day. Because they are seeing us as their own godfathers, ambassadors. Now they give them food. Now they put food on the table. But again, this brings me to the role of government. Yeah, the role of government in making sure you have a progressing nation. Now, for ensure, say, 1, education, 2, housing, 3, medical, 4, food. My brother, any nation not able feed itself, that nation, na time bomb is don't.
Absolutely, absolutely. We will come back. We will come back to that because that's a good point. Yeah, and one of my questions you just preempt to. I want to talk within the same context again, sir, if you don't really mind. And yeah, but now in the same context, different level. Recently, the president meets the diplomatic people them. He meets the diplomatic people them and other stakeholders them, the moral guarantors them of we law them and other things in our country, we institutions and the rest of it. They meet now a meeting. And obviously now that concern a lot of things we don't go on because largely we are part of the meeting where the president addressed them. So we know exactly this was like a roll call, an account, where the president will tell them, Unana we guessed and the rest of it. But this is what's been going on because they said they want to know and get interested and not invested and live there and the rest of it. But at some point, the president, a spokesperson, asks the press people for leave. I believe the president can get in privacy, entitled to in privacy, but this seems to be like a precedent because they allow the press people in at some point and the program not end, same people, and then the press were asked out. Did that go down well with you? Okay, I mean I'm in a different way. Waiting. Let ask you. I'm in a different way. Okay. So let ask you. No, let ask you in a different way because I want you deal with the whole shebang. Let ask you in a different way. So again, within the same context, the president meets with the moral guarantors them and diplomats them and etc., which was like some roll calling exercise or some accountability process, saying that this will not go on and so thing. And we see what it play out, like I talk about the journalists and the rest of it, and at some point they get for leave. Looking at the entire exercise, now I want to let you deal with the whole thing, then we move on. What really happened there, and then they talk about just specifically the journalists, you don't need to even address that if you don't wish to, but I just they talk about the entire exercise under the same context where we talk about the rule of law, the tension within the country, we make the president get for beating people and assure them, say, don't worry, you know, yeah, I will take, we will take care of things and the rest of it.
Prior to even meeting the diplomatic and consular corps, na lodge.
Yeah.
He met with the civil society organizations, the State House. And I believe, as a president, and in wisdom, a belief say, running that nation, he is obliged to appraise the civil society organizations on what they happen in the country. And beyond that, it also, as a nation with bilateral and multilateral partners in the country, it is also incumbent upon him for make he appraise members of the diplomatic and consular corps on issues where get for do with the country, where in belief say, even with the loudest noise of press freedom, but to some point, the press self gets limitations. There is a point where leaders want to talk privately, they will make it very clear to all the journalists and say, this place na no go area for journalists them because they want meet privately with their contemporaries them. So, in that same vein, the president, in his wisdom, thinks say, meeting with members of the diplomatic and consular corps, it is about time for make he keep the press out, he deal with them people here, after which he has a presidential spokesperson, he has a press secretary, where in job now for come brief the press on what in the president, the discussions where the president gets with the diplomatic community na lodge. So I don't think say probably the way how others go see him say it suppress press freedom. No, but of course now make a get press secretary. Later on, the press secretary and the presidential spokesman brief the press. And we all see that message was later filtered through the tunnel to the ordinary man, where we all can understand now precisely what's happening. Because again, when you meet with, I've worked before the embassy, I know what's in a diplomacy. There are certain diplomats where leaders that they meet with, you don't allow the press. You wait after discussions, then you press secretary or whosoever is your spokesperson, now in the go, he face the press. Or sometimes the president himself can come, he talk 1-2 minutes, and then move on. So me see him as a normal thing.
Okay, yeah. Obviously, just like you say, a divide opinion, maybe somewhere in the middle. But like I say, the way our Mr. C and the president entitled to in privacy, and then we want to discuss something private, just that, in the current state of things, everything, kind of topsy-turvy. Everything is being interpreted,
I know.
So that was also another issue of interest. Mr. Why would we come to the end of this program? Fambulem, for Una, we just join again. We almost come to the end. I see me book ready watch. Mr. Touye, welcome to the program. Julie Grant, welcome to the program. Mariam Ibrahim, welcome to the program. And everybody else, welcome. We talk to a very special guest, a man who don't be the chairman for the SLPP, the ruling party, Yana Continental Europe. For 12 good years, he was the chairperson. So now somebody heavy, now they talk to, so I can see how the interview, they go on carefully, don't answer all of the questions we are posed to them. And largely, of course, it not going to satisfy everybody. People can get them their own mind for make up for themselves, but they don't deal with them subsequently the way how it's supposed to. One of the problems we look at, Mr. Mansaray, a problem of a centralized Freetown. A centralized Freetown. In this discussion, we will also try to think about ways going forward, which will make a difference. Do you think, if some action is taken for decentralize the country, because Freetown now is so full up, because all things are inside it happen. Over 75% of things are inside Freetown. Decentralizing Freetown, don't you think it will help in the process, like for decongest Freetown in the first place and spread, responsibilities outside of Freetown, sir?
Oh, well, under normal circumstances, I would love to see Freetown decentralized, yeah? But also, we get sense of humor as human beings, as even when you are a president, when you are a government. You go agree with me, say, the issue of Freetown is a complex issue, wherein the 11 years civil war fundamentally responsible for make Freetown high it is so today. And for political expediency or whatever successive governments, although it was under the SLPP reign, under late President Kaba, local governments came back in 2004. The law was passed in Parliament. We begin to get councils. We begin to get, mayors. We begin to get chairmen of district councils. We have to commend the SLPP. I am a bit going to be partisan here because some of these institutions, made it to daylight during the SLPP reign. And if we talk about decentralizing not only Freetown, we decentralize governance. And believe you me, to some extent, we have come a long way, even under former President Ernest Bai Koroma. Because when Jan Kaba don't set up the machinery in motion, he said, he give a support. Governance is continuity. Today we have President Bio. And I'm sure with the mayor in Freetown, Akisoya, now brilliant woman, where he got brilliant ideas for see how it go able make Freetown becomes the Freetown where me and you sabi in those days, where the population was reasonable, where make water, electricity supply was actually enough for the residents, the Freetown. But with the coming of the war, and with people that will come on largely from that northwest flank, can't settle the slum system. Freetown is overloaded in such a way that let me also say this clearly, my brother, every political party, we mean business, not a joke with sending back people to whose side and come up, because it will be political suicide. No government will try it. But with time, with the understanding and trying for with people to understand, say, that Freetown way then they so, government try for decentralized jobs. Because that is actually the main reason for people coming to Freetown. Absolutely. Even from my own village, my brother, all the age groups in the Freetown, they are languishing in Freetown. I mean, you can go to the village, you get your land, you can plow them, you make food. That was what we were doing in our own days. But today, everybody want come Freetown. Everybody want move from Freetown to Europe or America. So all that one day, we have an underlying factor. We're responsible for that day. Where politically, any government say now it will use that kind of force for at least decentralized Freetown in terms of population. My brother, that would be political suicide.
Okay, let me ask you the final question, sir, and this one is loaded. Gotta be really honest with you, but it's a straightforward question. You are definitely SLPP heavyweight. You've spoken a lot, you've said a lot, and brilliantly said. But here is the thing: the economy, they bad, really, really bad. The government been generate revenue, but for generate revenue in that form, it not last well because you therefore increase your tax base. And once you increase the tax base, the few businessmen the way they like for example, the few they will get are Lebanese and probably the Indians. Most of them will leave, and most of them have left. The dollar against the leones is in trouble. It's in real trouble. And for 2.5 years during the tenure of His Excellency, this president, Julius Maada Bio, it's been an uphill battle. It's been a struggle. And we've got like 3 years more left for this parliamentary term of office to end. Going forward, Mr. Mansaray, are you optimistic, as if things are going to change? And if you are, would you dare to say how, even theoretically, how it's going to change within this parliament, like the 3 years left, for things to change and for Sierra Leonean people to start appreciating, the president and the difficult times that they are in place?
Well, actually, I'm cautiously optimistic because, look, I even want to sympathize with His Excellency the President, where it is during his term or his reign that this deadly disease don't surface in the world, where don't ravage world economies, where in fact it don't bring some economies them to stagnation in the world. So Sierra Leone is no exception. However, I am sure, and based on certain pronouncements where the bank governor be make, at least the Bank of Sierra Leone, they try for introduce a kind of stimulus package where go reduce the burden on business people so that these essential goods will keep coming into the country. Because honestly, look, if we say we talk about economy here, believe you me believe say we for even talk about lives first, because it is only when a nation is healthy then you talk about a healthy economy. But looking at what is actually now happening around the world, our priority as a government is making sure people are safe, and the fight against COVID is taken to the sickness itself, so that we would have a healthy nation where later on go come and make the economy rebound. So I'm a bit surprised that bringing the lives of people talking about the economy here. They talk about economy. Besides sickness don't overtake people their lives in the world. You have to concentrate on how you go make people they're able to live in a safer environment, so that after all this fight, just like we did under former President Ernest Bai Koroma, when Ebola surfaced in Sierra Leone, all hands were on deck for defeat Ebola, and we did. And I am very confident under his presidency, President Julius Maada Bio, we will beat COVID, and it will be a thing of the past, and our economy will rebound. I know the economy is challenged now by the advent of COVID-19, but we will, as a resilient nation, as a government with wisdom, defeat COVID and make sure our economy comes back stronger than before.
Wow, well said, sir. I really appreciate your time this evening, depending on who side other people in the watch I'm from this night, and etc. etc. It's been a very great run. And as a first time on the program, I want to express my thanks and appreciation to you for taking the opportunity for coming and address issues. And I'm extremely pleased as well because the questions posed to you was questions that we expect you for defend because you belong to the side so that people will understand where you're coming from. And I know say subsequently we will see waiting happen in the chat room and as more people around the world watch. So Fambule, we don't come to the end of the program. And we plan another one. I want to let you know this, that we go get 3 or 4 of the major parties. In fact, now 4 of them exist. There were 16 at election time. Now, I don't know who's the other 12 don't go. We only get 4. The same politics we talk about. Yeah, it's such a pity, honestly. So anyway, we plan for come with every major party leader at this particular platform. Then we can hear waiting and get for say to questions then when the people and go on hear. But one thanks Mr. Solomon Baimba Mansaray. Yes, sir, for taking the opportunity. And even though I'm first time, this not going to be last. Thank you so much, sir.
You're most welcome, Mr. Kuruma. And honestly, I have to express my profound thanks and appreciation for at least giving me this platform, for make me and you can get a civil discourse around the issues we get for do with me and you and with people in back home. I couldn't appreciate you more, my brother. I mean, it's been a very good experience for me.